Peace and blessings, everyone. We are here. We are back with another exciting episode of Wobble Hearts. And you're seeing another person sitting next to me on my left side. So he's the co-host for today's session, Mr. Khalid Naki, who brings with him 30 to 35 years diversified local and international experience in different asset classes. And the reason for having him or including him in this session, though he should be grateful that we have giving him the screen time, the face time. So the reason is because of the guest we have today. He has a very diverse experience, so we thought that we need to have a co-host on board so that we can capture maximum thoughts in a very small time. So without any further delay, I would like to introduce you our guest, who is Mr. Umer Khan, and he is basically a leadership trainer, strategy consultant, business coach, and a serial entrepreneur. He's the founder of Activate Private Limited, the CEO of Eventment, co-founder of Activate Games, and co-founder of the Pakistan Human Capital Forum. He brings with him 20 years plus highly diverse national and international consulting and training experience with leading organizations in Pakistan, Dubai, and Oman. I mean, you name the company, it's Engro, PepsiCo, CCI Pakistan, General Electric, Packages, Bank of Punjab. I mean, he has been there. So he has been actually in everything, I must say. So he has trained and coached individuals varying from farmers to generals, from students to top executives. Umer passionately believes in the power of an individual's mind and has devoted himself to the mission of enhancing self-belief within individuals. And it's not that it's written in his profile that he's passionate. He actually sits very passionately, he talks very passionately, and you will feel that thing when you will get into the conversation with him. So assalamu alaikum Umer.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम सारा. सबसे पहले तो आपने घबराना नहीं था क्योंकि वो जो मेरे प्रोफाइल में आपने सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर पढ़ा था वो सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर था, सीरियल किलर नहीं था. तो जो आपने साथ एक co-host भी लाई, but it's such a pleasure to have you here as well. And you know, I must say that the conversation will be very exciting today.
Inshallah. So recently you have also dived into a gaming startup.
Okay.
So would you like to tell what is it all about? How is the experience?
I'm happy that this is where you start because this is where my focus is these days. I think after a number of years of doing what I do, I really wanted to understand where the world is headed. And I think that the best way to do that was to dab my hands into what is exciting everybody around us, to try a startup myself. So इससे पहले जितने भी businesses किए, they are all traditional businesses, and you know, I've also advised more of traditional businesses. So there is a journey I took. Even before I went into this, I trained myself, I joined a boot camp with MIT and spent a lot of months there trying to understand what we should be doing. And so there were a number of things that I wanted to do, but the very first one that we have picked is game-based learning. And you know, adversity sometimes brings the best in you. And जब COVID आया और हमारे traditional businesses were almost at a standstill and we were all trying to understand what to do, so we thought that why not build on our expertise or experience or learnings and create something for the future. So Activate Games is a wonderful startup focusing on game-based learning. We started a year ago. We already have validations with organizations such as PepsiCo and Jazz and Nestle and the likes and Coke. So really excited for it.
So how was this transition, an engineer from GK and then MBA from Virginia Tech, and then now diving into a very niche, what you say,
this is a story of about 2 decades जो आपने GIK से आज तक की कर दी है. So I think there's a lot that has happened. I think the transition was very slow. I think the quickest transition that a lot of people ask me was the one when I, as an engineer, I went into more marketing, sales, and business. I think that's the one big leap of faith I did back then. और उसके बाद I've slowly built on whatever I've done.
So you talked about a little bit about the future. So how do you perceive future? We read a lot of reports about the mega trends emerging, and but somehow this debate about future, how it's going to shape it up, its morphology is difficult to define. So how do you see the future world of work? What kind of challenges you foresee?
Absolutely no idea.
No idea
what the future is going to be. And I think anybody who feels that they have a grasp of what the future is going to be should think again. I think if anything, the last 3 years have taught us that, right? Nobody could have imagined the pace of change that has happened since 2020, right? Lives have changed. Ordinary people working in their offices in Lahore, you talk to them and you find out that they are now communicating with people all over the world. They are partnering, collaborating, strategizing for things that they always dreamt about but never thought possible. So the past 3 years, 2.5 years have made that happen. Most strikingly, the pace with which all of this has come about. Okay. So we really don't know when the next big thing hits us, whatever it is, hopefully for the positive, hopefully not an imtihan like we went through the COVID times. Like in whatever that next big thing is, we don't really know what will come out of that. So I think the best thing we can all do is to ask ourselves a few questions. So one of the questions I ask when I work with organizations and people is that on a scale of 1 to 10, how much has COVID affected your work and your organizations? Okay. Pretty much every time I get an answer between 7 to 8. Okay. Sometimes there are shout outs of 10 as well, but just keep it a little conservative and say 7 to 8. And then I ask a follow-up question that if your work and organizations have been impacted on the scale of 8, how much have you changed, or how much have policies, your work style, and organizations actually adopted or made changes to cope with that? और उसको भी 1 से 10 तक rate करें, and the answers I have gotten have never been more than 4. Right? So you see the gap, and there lies the opportunity. So what happened will happen, but are we agile enough? Are we looking to first absorb? Because I think two things happened. जिस वक्त ये हमें हिट किया था तो कुछ लोगों ने बहुत जल्दी चेंज होने की कोशिश की, वो ज़रूरी था, सर्वाइवल का भी मामला था. लेकिन जब हम बहुत तेज़ी से चेंज करते हैं तो कई दफ़ा हम अपनी बेस को खो देते हैं, और जितनी तेज़ी से चेंज करते हैं और जब हालात वैसे ही हो जाते हैं जो पहले जैसे हो गए, मेरा हमेशा से फेयर यही रहा था जब मैं लीडर से बात करता था कि आई एम नॉट अफ्रेड ऑफ व्हाट कोविड विल डू, बट आई एम रियली अफ्रेड ऑफ व्हेन थिंग्स विल बिकम normal again. So all the talks of the social responsibilities, the green leadership, the responsible leadership we are having, are we all going to go back to play catch up to what we lost in these 2 years? And unfortunately, that worst fear of mine is coming true. So I feel that we, as not just as a comm, but as people, we are falling back to our old habits. So what changed needed to have an impact. So मेरे ख्याल में हमें अपने आप को एजाइल करना है, हमें एब्जॉर्ब करना है. देखें, we're doing this show even in 22, but 20 में आपको पता है कि almost everyone had a podcast or a webcast, and they were doing something, and almost everybody would be talking about this is the way to face this challenge, whereas in my opinion nobody had any damn clue of what to do about it.
I have a comment to make over here. In October 2019, right? I made a presentation. I was associated prior to my current role.
Okay.
I was associated with the corporate side of academia, and there I made a presentation on volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world that is emerging.
Okay.
And I gave literal examples just to help them visualize what's going to happen in the future. So I just gave an example. What if there is no classroom and you have to teach to the students? And so many other examples. And the most interesting comment I got was that VUCA cannot come to Pakistan, right? And VUCA, nobody is aware of the morphology of VUCA. VUCA can be anything. COVID was a VUCA for us. It has been chasing us from the last many years, and still it's on the way in some other shape and form. So what do you think, how important is it? Because you are into the strategy facilitation role, right? So how important it is for the organizations to keep reinventing their business definition?
देखिए, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? सारा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि we don't connect with the meaning behind the words. ठीक है? So organizations are big about these words. They are big about these concepts. People are big about these words. ठीक है? अभी VUCA आपने उसके साथ पूरा सिर्फ एक्रोनिम नहीं बोला, पूरी फ्रेज बोली, which is great. ठीक है, बट जब हम इन वर्ड्स को बोलते हैं ना तो वी गेट enchanted by the word itself rather than the meaning behind the word. What is going to happen? ठीक है, you said something in 2019. You must feel very proud that that changed, and we are now okay. No. You should feel proud because one of your vision actually
it
happened.
wasn't my vision. I just read the report. I got the idea. What's shaping up.
a lot of us should always be ready for the uncertain. We are never sure out of these 20 things we are thinking will happen, these scenarios we have in our mind, which will actually be in place first. Okay? But one of these will be. So the biggest focus is in your own competencies to be agile. And agility is a word which is being used by everyone. Okay? Passion is a word which is being used by everyone. But do we really go deeper and try to understand what does it entail? What do we need to become in order to be agile? How should we act if we are passionate about something? So I think वो जब meanings के साथ हम connect हो जाएंगे ना, और फिर हम ये सोचेंगे और देखेंगे कि हमारी actions जो हैं वो वाकई इन लफ्जों से कनेक्ट करते भी हैं या नहीं करते. आई एम सरप्राइज समटाइम्स इन माय स्टार्ट ऑफ माय ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स आई से अस्सलाम वालेकुम, एंड यू नो जनरली जैसे होता है डेड ऑडियंस होती है, शुरू में जवाब नहीं आता, फिर आप दोबारा हर कोई कहता है, जोर से कहते हो तो जोर से जवाब आता है, बट देन आई ऑलमोस्ट ऑलवेज से दैट इन उर्दू, और मैं कहता हूँ जी आप पर सलामती हो. एंड द मोमेंट आई से दैट इन उर्दू, even though every single person in the room knows the meaning of assalamu alaikum, but when I say that कि आप पर सलामती हो मेरे दोस्त, मेरे भाई, मेरी बहन, the response I get when this entire group will say और आप पर भी सलामती हो सर, ठीक है, the feelings behind those lines are totally different than the regular walaikum assalam you hear. ठीक है, because for a moment they have been exposed to the meaning which they knew, and they understand that why is this person saying this, because or walaikum assalam lacked that honesty of purpose. ठीक है, और जब आप एक दूसरे को दुआ दे देते हैं किसी भी मुलाकात के शुरू में, तो उसके बाद वो अच्छाई ही होती है ना, फिर it's very difficult to go down from there because you have all really from your heart prayed. So I think इतनी सिंपल सी बात है, we need to start asking कि हम जितनी भी बातें कर रहे हैं, और कोई मैं नई बात नहीं कर सकता, सारी बातें आप सबको पता है यार, आप तो खुद बिजनेस स्कूल एंड एकेडेमिया में भी रहे हैं, सारी चीजों में, तो यू नो बच्चों को भी पता है, वो लफ्ज पता है, वो फ्रेजेस पता है, वो कॉन्सेप्ट्स का इल्म है, but what are we doing about that? Are we asking ourselves that have I lived this behavior today? What I have done in the past 3 hours, ठीक है, can I give an example of my past 3 hours and say that I have lived these 3 behaviors which we all say are crucial to the VUCA world? ठीक है, और जब हमें वहां पे गैप नजर आना शुरू हो जाता है तो we should start focusing on that. I think इसको बिल्कुल सिंपल रखने की जरूरत है. अगर हम ये सवाल डेली की बुनियाद पे पूछते रहेंगे तो आई थिंक हमारे जो रिजल्ट्स हैं वो भी बेहतर होंगे.
अच्छा, तो आपने बात की है कि मीनिंग इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, एंड आपको क्या लगता है whose responsibility is actually to articulate that meaning so that it get into the DNA of the people?
वो किसके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है?
If we are
आप बताएं ना. देखिए अब आपने सवाल पूछे, लेट्स गेट टू द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस, लेट्स डू दिस लिटिल एक्सरसाइज. ठीक है, सो वी हैव आस्क्ड अ क्वेश्चन कि किसके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, व्हाई डोंट इन योर माइंड यू ट्राई टू से इट कि ये किसके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. आप बताएं किसके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है.
So if I am part of an organization, it is important for me to understand as an employee. It is important for me to understand being associated with the team. It is also important for all the stakeholders working within that organization to have a deeper understanding of that meaning. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's all about collective measurable impact. So if all people are on the same page, they are making an effort aligned with the organizational goals, then they will be able to make an impact. Otherwise, this meaning has no context.
Perfect answer. There you are.
Yeah.
See, so just because you ask yourself that question, you let your mind wonder about its answer. ठीक है, और जब आपने सोचा तो आपको जवाब मिल गया. ये इतना ही आसान है हम सबके लिए. ठीक है, आंसर्स मुश्किल नहीं है, लेकिन क्या हम बार बार पूछते हैं? जब पहली दफा पूछते हैं ना तो फिर हमें वो जवाब मिलता है जो हम सुनना चाहते हैं. ठीक है, जब हम दूसरी दफा वो बात पूछते हैं तो फिर हमारे अंदर से आवाज आती है, भाई दोबारा क्यों पूछा है, क्या पहले आंसर पे यकीन नहीं आया? ठीक है, तो फिर कुछ थोड़ा सा और डीप जाते हैं. फिर जब हम तीसरी दफा किसी और हालात में पूछते हैं कि आप वाकई ये कर रहे हैं आप, ठीक है, तो देन वी स्टार्ट तीसरी, चौथी, पांचवी, कहीं ना कहीं वी स्टार्ट गेटिंग ट्रू आंसर्स. सो आई थिंक it is important, as you said, for everyone associated there. If I want to grow in an organization, I must start understanding the meaning. If the organizations really truly want to have an impact, the सवाल is, do they really want to have an impact? ठीक है, that's a question for them to answer. मैं उस स्कूल ऑफ थॉट से बिलीव नहीं रखता जो ये कहते हैं कि यार आप अच्छा ही करोगे तो तरक्की करोगे. देखें, जो दुनियावी तरक्की है ना, वो आप हर तरह कर लेते हैं. So आपको पता नहीं चलता, आपने ग्रो तो कर लिया होता है कि आपने जो पर्पस की बात की, आपने उस पर्पस के बगैर ही ग्रो कर दिया. Sometimes the environment allows you, there is a vacuum, others are not challenging you with that purpose, and you see a space and you still have the success. ठीक है. So when you have the success without knowing your purpose and without acting on the right intent, तो फिर आपको लगना शुरू हो जाता है कि मैं जो भी कर रहा हूँ वो ठीक कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है. सो हमारे यहाँ फ्रैंकली बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस डोंट इवन आस्क के क्या वो जो कर रही हैं वो उनके पर्पस, उनके मिशन से एग्जैक्टली मैच करता भी है या नहीं करता. ठीक है.
So आपने बहुत सारी organizations में you have provided.
एक सवाल ड्राइव कर.
जी sure.
Because I was thinking कि बात VUCA की हो रही थी, uncertainty की हो रही है, and all those challenges which we are facing and likely to face. COVID was one of the VUCAs.
Yeah.
I mean, अभी जो हम देख रहे हैं, if you look at the globe, तो financial recession और stagflation की बात हो रही है. We are seeing a war going on in Europe, जिससे World War III की बातें शुरू हो गई हैं. We are seeing shortage of water in the world, जिससे agriculture की बातें शुरू हो गई हैं. We are seeing के बहुत ज़्यादा polarization भी चीज़ों की हो रही है. We are seeing के काफ़ी animosity और hatred भी create हो रही है, मीडिया उसके लिए इस्तेमाल हो रहा है. And we are seeing so many other factors which are going to affect directly lot of nations, organizations and individuals also. तो इतने सारे VUCA emerge होते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं. I'm not a doctor doomsday or doomsday doctor, but the way we are visualizing things, उसमें इतने सारे challenges नजर आ रहे हैं. तो my worry is कि अगर आज मुझे किसी corporation को advice करने on M&A or how to realign themselves, what precautions to take, how to ensure their survival, तो मैं किस parameter को touch करूँ? Being a strategy consultant, what would be your advice to an entrepreneur, irrespective of the domain he is working in, कि how to shock-proof or future-proof from such shocks which are likely to emerge? They may not occur also, and let's pray they don't, but what if they happen, like COVID happened? So what would be the strategic outlook?
No,
what would be your best advice?
I think great question जी, thank you for that. जो मेन चीज़ है जो हमने पहले भी बात की, मैं उसी पे वापस आता हूँ. शॉक प्रूफ तो शायद कभी भी ना हो सके कोई. ठीक है. और थोड़ा बहुत शॉक सही है, वो जब लगेगा तो हमें हिलाएगा और हमें नई जगह की तरफ, नई चीज़ों की तरफ सोचेगा. सो मैंने जो स्टार्टअप किया है ये मैं ना करता ऑनेस्टली अगर कोविड ना हुआ होता. ठीक है. सो बिकॉज दैट हैपेंड, बिकॉज माई बिजनेस took a hit, and I in my mind had done multiple variations of it कि जो चलते, बट इस शॉक के लिए मैं तैयार नहीं था. ठीक है. जब हुआ तो I let that, we as a team let that absorb, and उसके बाद we try to come out of that with something which we feel is put us in a better place than we were 3 years ago. ठीक है. So I think जो organizations को live करना है ना सर, वो वही जो वैल्यूज इनकी हम बात कर रहे थे या जिन बिहेवियर्स, लीडरशिप बिहेवियर्स की बात कर रहे हैं, उनको लिव करना शुरू करने की बात है. कौन सी ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है या कौन सा ऐसा बिजनेस है जो आजकल ये नहीं कहता कि इनोवेशन या न्यू सॉल्यूशंस या एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज वन ऑफ द कोर लीडरशिप बिहेवियर्स वी वांट एवरीबॉडी टू वर्क ऑन? सारे कहते हैं ना जी. ठीक है. अब कहते तो सारे हैं,
करता कौन है?
देखिए, चेंज आपको अनकंफर्टेबल करती है. मैं आपको छोटी सी एग्जांपल देता हूँ. देयर इज अ बिग MNC who has one of these as their core areas of leadership behaviors कि जी this is one of the things we want to do. So मेरी एक जो marketing services company है, event company, we also came up with, so उसने भी थोड़ा सा innovate किया. So we started doing these hybrid and digital events. You know, we became partners of the leading platforms. We created our own strength of production and other things, and we started doing digital. So we were amongst Pakistan's only event companies who went into pure digital events very early into the game. So एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का एक लीडरशिप कॉन्फ्रेंस या मैनेजमेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस या जो भी होना था, और दे सेड कि जी अब हम तो we can't be physical, so let's do some more creativity and do things which we have, which will get people involved. Ab the first hurdle that came from that organization was that it's about digital times. अब वो कह रहे हैं हमने creative होना है, उनकी leadership behavior कहता है कि creative होना है. पहली hurdle कहाँ गई कि जी कोई भी नया डिजिटल टूल इस्तेमाल करने के लिए आईटी की अप्रूवल चाहिए. ठीक है, अगर वो इंस्टॉल होना भी है या नहीं भी होना, ठीक है, चाहे वो वन टाइम यूज है. अब वो प्रोसेस, क्योंकि वो पाकिस्तान में बैठे हैं और एक मल्टीनेशनल कंपनी है, तो जी हमारा 2 महीने का तो अप्रूवल प्रोसेस होगा. ठीक है, अच्छा जी, बिल्कुल ठीक है. अब वो 2 महीने का अप्रूवल प्रोसेस चल रहा है, वो ईमेल्स हो रही हैं. अब आप देखें, आप का वर्ल्ड में बात कर रहे हैं चेंज होने की, तो हेंस आई फोकस्ड ऑन दैट वर्ड एजिलिटी. वो 2 महीने हो गया पूरा, ठीक है जी, अप्रूवल आ गया. अब उसके बाद the team got super excited about the tool, and I'm not saying that as a missed opportunity from our side. I'm saying that as a consultant working with organizations where I see the difference between the words they say and the actions they take. ठीक है, and it comes right from the top. It doesn't come only from the people in the front जहाँ पे हम focus करते हैं. It happens right at the top. The team got very excited that यार हम ऐसा solution लेके आएंगे जो पाकिस्तान में तो अभी कोई कर ही नहीं रहा, and it's going to be amazing, and हमारे जो employees हैं, they're going to love it. They are going to feel proud to be part of an organization which is ready to adopt these changes and innovations. बिल्कुल ठीक है जी. A week before, when the CEO, and incidentally not even a Pakistani, an expat, had to experience that and said कि अच्छा चलो यार एक दफ़ा हम रिहर्सल करते हैं और उनको भी दिखा दें ताकि उन्होंने भी आना है, तो ये चीज़ क्या होगी. So when he went through the tool, he had what people anyway would have when you are going in for a new tool. लोगों को Zoom करना यूज़ करना नहीं आता था पहली दफ़ा, या Teams करना नहीं आता था पहली दफ़ा गए थे. So he had a little discomfort. And rather than taking that discomfort as a sign of a change and as a sign of something new happening, and it will be a learning opportunity for the organization, and say देखो हम सारे नई चीज़ सीख रहे हैं जिसमें हमें थोड़ी सी teething problems आ रही हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि हम इसको adopt कर रहे हैं, तो this is a beautiful expression of how this organization is going to continue to adopt innovation. Rather than using that opportunity to live that behavior, the man at the top said, yeah, let's get back to what we do previously, and let's get the entire conference back on the meeting. So agar ye
comfort zone is your danger zone.
There you are.
And anxiety change के साथ आएगी. वुका में तो बहुत anxiety आनी है. So that's true. I think जो mindset है of our business leaders, that also needs to be refertilized, keeping in view the new emerging dynamics. So Sarah, I think you have a lot more questions to carry.
मैं यहाँ पे सिर्फ थोड़ा सा ऐड कर दूँ कि देखें इस पूरे एग्जाम्पल में लर्निंग क्या है. ठीक है ना, बिकॉज एग्जाम्पल से लर्निंग मेरा काम है, तो शायद मैं बोल भी दूंगा आगे से कि कैसे लर्निंग निकल रही है. सिर्फ ये लर्निंग नहीं है कि मुझे वो दिखा रही है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, या एक बिहेवियर मुझे नजर आया कि इनका गैप है उस लीडरशिप कॉम्पिटेंसी में और उनके एक्शन में. देखिए आपने और कितनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज लूज की हैं यहाँ पे. आपने एक एक्सप्रेशन लूज किया है टू टीच द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दैट हाउ वी आर रेडी फॉर समथिंग न्यू. दैट्स नंबर 1. 2, जो ऐसी चेंज है जब दफ्तर बंद हो गए और आपने घर बैठना था, आपको दफ्तर खुल ही नहीं सकते थे, अलाउड ही नहीं थे, ठीक है, तो आपने उसके लिए अपने आप को चेंज करके वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर लिया, तो क्या तीर मारा. You are okay, great. You were agile in responding to it. You had the money to do those changes, give people resources, but you were forced into that change. Remember, ठीक है, that wasn't a change which you work from home you adopted because you
volunteer
absolutely that was forced. ठीक है, या इस तरह की कोई भी और चीज, या आपने Zoom मीटिंग करना शुरू कर दी, आपने अपनी डिसीजन मेकिंग को डिजिटल कर दिया, आपने कोई और टूल ऐसा इस्तेमाल करना शुरू कर दिया जो प्रोडक्टिविटी इनहांस करेगा. ये मजबूरियां थी. जब मशीनरी बंद हो जाती है किसी भी जगह पे, तो फिर तो आप सब कुछ कर गुजरते हैं ना. फिर तो जब आपकी प्रोडक्शन चल रही होती है, तो फिर तो आपको चाहे एक दिन के अंदर वो प्रोडक्शन आउटसोर्स करनी पड़े किसी जगह से, चाहे आपको नुकसान करके बहुत सारा माल इकट्ठा करना पड़े इधर उधर से, आपने अपनी डिलीवरीज को स्केड्यूल को मीट करना होता है. ठीक है, दैट्स नॉट अ साइन ऑफ एजाइल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. that's where the problem is. We have adopted well to changes which were forced onto us, but we are not voluntarily doing much or enough to adopt changes which are required for the future. And that's where the
values also.
absolutely, and that's where the challenges and the opportunities as well.
Okay.
So agility has come out, as the word, that will be having multiple meanings to different people. So it's very important to have a core understanding about this word. And he also talked about that it's time for us to also sense the signals of change and be future ready. So again, these are very mota words. So it's very important that we are keeping signals of change in our mind. We are continuously reinventing our business definition, because convenience is now the thing which consumers want in whatever, value chain of expectations you're talking about, because value chain of expectations has also changed. So it's a core responsibility of every individual and an organizational leader to at least stay abreast of the emerging disruptions, and as well as to keep investing in their people, in their organizational culture, in their values, that they are actually well aligned with each other, so that they can make an impact for which they are there. And they can also have a sustainable trajectory of their business.
Sure.
So any conclusive remarks? It's a long debate actually. We wanted to discuss a lot more with Umer, and we will be having him more often on our show now. Maybe we will like to have you 2 to 3 times more, so that we can debate with him, because he's a debater as well. We can debate with him on 2 to 3 different tangents in which he has a lot of expertise and experience. So Khalid, have any conclusive remarks? You're the apex of our show.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Umer, for being very generous with your comments and thoughts and suggestions. इनकी बातों से जो एक बड़ी क्लैरिटी से बात नजर आई वो ये है कि we are reverting back into old thoughts, which is very dangerous. कि 1 to 10 के स्केल पे जहाँ पे ये देख रहे हैं लोगों को कि they are reverting back to old habits, we need to really open up to the new realities and revisit our thoughts. माइंड चेंज करना बड़ा मुश्किल काम है, लेकिन probably अगर ये सिनेरियो emerge हो रहा है तो we really need to go deeper into it and see how to make those minds more agile. और थोड़ी एंग्जाइटी अच्छी होती है. Slight inflation is good for the economy. Anxiety is good it pushes you to do new things.
So आप एक नया मैसेज देने के घबराना अच्छा है.
हाँ, घबराना अच्छा है. और घबराओगे नहीं ना तो मेहनत भी नहीं करोगे और कोई नया तरीका भी नहीं निकालोगे. And your comfort zone is your danger zone, as we all know. If you don't live your values, हटा दें, because वो इंग्लिश लिखी उसका मतलब कुछ नहीं है. एक जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात शुरू में इन्होंने की कि मैंने इस्लाम उर्दू में करना शुरू किया, तो इट्स अ रियलिटी कि आप किसी भी जबान में कोई बात करते हो तो आपका माइंड ट्रांसलेट करता है उसको, और एक मोडेम अंदर ऑटोमेटिकली चलता है, वो आपको उर्दू में ट्रांसलेट करता है और आप रिस्पॉन्ड करते हो. ऑल्दो द रिएक्शन टाइम इज वेरी फास्ट, लेकिन इमोशनल कनेक्शन उस लफ्ज का आता है जब आपकी फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज के साथ वो हिट हो. एक्सीलेंट ऑब्जर्वेशन कि उर्दू में कहना शुरू किया उन्होंने तो वो लोगों ने रिस्पॉन्स. मैंने देखा है चाइनीज को चाइनीज से बात करने अगर आती है ना तो दे विल टेक यू सीरियस. अरबी के साथ अरबी में कर सकते हो, दे विल ट्रस्ट यू. किसी और से किसी और जबान में, जो भी उसकी जबान है, फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज मैटर्स. जितने भी दुनिया में माशरे ने तरक्की की है, जर्मन से जर्मन लैंग्वेज में की है, एंड इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग वालों ने इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में की है. हमारा अनफॉर्चुनेटली टेक्निकल लिटरेचर नहीं है उर्दू में, एंड वी आर स्टिल डिपेंडेंट अपॉन बोरिंग वर्ड्स फ्रॉम अदर लैंग्वेजेस. तो वो एक गैप है जो हमारी इंटेलिजेंसिया को देखना चाहिए. एंड आई थिंक आज के सेशन का अगर मैं मॉरल निकालूं तो वो ये है कि हमें प्रॉब्ली बहुत ज़्यादा मेंटल कोचिंग की ज़रूरत है, स्पेशली एट द हेल्म ऑफ अफेयर्स ऑफ एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बिग और स्मॉल, और वहाँ से हम एजिलिटी ड्राइव करें. एंड पिवटिंग इज अनदर ऑप्शन, लेकिन पिवट भी आप उस वक्त करोगे आप एजाइल होगे, या न्यू सॉल्यूशंस टू द सेम प्रॉब्लम लाके आप प्रोसेसेस इंप्रूव कर सकते हो. Thank you so very much, Umer, for
my pleasure. Thank you so much. It was fun having it. Yes, I would love to be here again and have another conversation.
Let's have a session on values. Why to live them?
Okay.
Right? So we're looking forward to the next session, inshallah.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum.